ओके।
हमारे क्लब ने 5 दिन पूर्व 20 सितंबर को भगवत गीता टीचिंग्स के ऊपर निष्काम कर्म सार्थक जीवन जीने की कुंजी का एक प्रोग्राम किया था, जिसमें राम शेषु और रवि बदलमानी आए थे। और हमारे मित्र राजीव मेहरा सीनियर ने बोला था कि हमें ये सब प्रोग्राम्स रेगुलर बेसिस पे करने चाहिए। और राजीव की बात का हमने मान रखा और राजीव आज हम हाजिर हैं। और आज के इस कार्यक्रम से, इस 18 दिन का जो हमारा कार्यक्रम चलेगा, शुरू हुआ है, इस कार्यक्रम में हम राम के साथ स्वधर्म द की टू जॉयफुल लिविंग पर कुछ नया जानेंगे और इनसे संबंधित संवादों के सार को हम सबसे अवगत कराएंगे 41 राम शिशु। उनका मैं स्वागत करता हूं, प्रणाम करता हूं उनको और उनका आभार मानता हूं कि वे 18 दिन गीता का ज्ञान हम सबसे बांटने के लिए तैयार हो गए। आज हम गीता के पहले अध्याय के बारे में बात करेंगे, जिसमें रणभूमि की परिस्थितियां और अर्जुन का अपने परिवार को युद्ध के मैदान में सामने खड़ा देखकर मन से हार जाना, उसके बारे में बात की गई है। आइए ये कार्य हम दीप प्रज्वलित करके शुरू करते हैं, शुभारंभ करते हैं इसका, और ईश्वर से प्रार्थना करते हैं कि ज्ञान की यह लौ हम सबके भीतर सदा प्रज्वलित रहे। Two minutes. भगवद गीता का संगीत।
क्या डालें?
Ram, now all yours.
Very good, Bobby. Thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Let us pray to Sri Krishna that all of us find the answers that we are seeking in life. So first of all, I'd like to thank Surat, 41st Club of Surat and Bobby for doing this. I also like to thank three of my great friends, Rajiv Mehra, who's been pushing me. I'd also like to acknowledge Babji and RP for being here and I think Ravi will be joining us shortly, Ravi Vadlamani. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this particular program, which is the 18 Days Swadharma, the Key to Happiness program. Now, before I just dive into the Bhagavad Gita itself, just a couple of quick suggestions for all of you and a confession to make. A couple of quick suggestions is as follows. Number one, as I put out in my message last night, in case you do have a copy of the Bhagavad Gita, then please keep it handy with you. It will be useful. You can read it. If not, don't worry about it. We've got slides. We'll keep showing you the slides with the relevant shloka. Now, there are 700 verses in the Bhagavad Gita. And quite honestly, sometimes I get lost in just reading one verse. I can spend a whole hour trying to understand and figure out what the meaning of that verse is. And कभी-कभी ऐसा होता है कि जितना ज़्यादा सोचोगे आप उतना आपको हो जाता है कि आपको उतना कम मालूम है. This is the beauty of the Bhagavad Gita. It is like an ocean, and you can just get into that ocean and you can keep exploring. And आप जितना सीखोगे उतना कम है. लेकिन 2-3 चीज मैं आपको बताना चाहता हूँ, और ये मेरे जो गुरु हैं वो मुझे सिखाया था कि don't treat this just like a religious text, treat this like a way of life. Okay, those of you who'd like to treat it like a religious text, very good, but some of us just treat it as a way of life. So आपको संस्कृत नहीं आती है, कोई बात नहीं, आप कोशिश कीजिए पढ़ने के लिए. आपको उसको तेलुगु में पढ़ना है, कन्नड़ा में पढ़ना है, तमिल में पढ़ना है, हिंदी में पढ़ना है, गुजराती में पढ़ना है, आपकी मर्जी, आप पढ़िए, लेकिन जरूर पढ़िए. ये एक रिक्वेस्ट है मेरा. दूसरा कन्फेशन जो मैं बनाना चाहता हूँ आपको, I am a student of Sanskrit, but believe me, my ucharana is not as good as it should be. I am still learning. मेरी अभी भी कोशिश है कि मैं सीखूं. मैं अभी भी कोशिश कर रहा हूँ. Lekin, it doesn't matter. My guru told me that, look, don't worry about it. Just go on. You don't have to have a perfect ucharana because this is not a prayer. You're doing this out of devotion. So whatever you do it with devotion and Krishna will be with us. Having said that, before we move into the first chapter itself, just a little background on the Gita. If you look at the Bhagavad Gita, it is a timeless song. It is a timeless classic, and I'll tell you why. You see, the Gita, if you look at Hindu, if you look at the Sanatana Dharma, and if you look at the kind of writings in the Sanatana Dharma, which is the Vedas, the Upanishads, and all of these describe the way of life. And quite honestly, as Shankaracharya puts it, the Bhagavad Gita is the finest compilation of all of that. Sanatana Dharma depends upon 3 basic aspects. One is the Jnana Yoga, the second is the Bhakti Yoga, and the third is the Karma Yoga. And the Gita beautifully brings all these together for all of us at one place. What we will attempt to do in the next 18 days is to try and figure out, and I hope that by the end of today and the end of the 18th day, I get all of you excited to start reading the Gita. Read it like a storybook if you feel like, but just start reading it so that you will get a lot of answers to so many questions that each of us are looking for. As Anurag put it very rightly, let's look at what happened to Arjuna. Arjuna, mind you, was the finest warrior in the Mahabharata. You see, it is with a grand design that Krishna chose him. Krishna could have very easily chosen Yudhishthira, or he could have chosen Bhishma, or he could have chosen Nakula, or he could have chosen Sahadeva, but he chose Arjuna as his Shishya and as the person who will take the war forward. Now let us look at it from a modern context. Okay, Arjuna is possibly one IIT Kharagpur, IIM Ahmedabad, pass out with the best of technology. He's got the Gandiva, he's got the Brahmastra, he's got the finest Sarathi, the finest teammates that you can think of. He's got Krishna as his charioteer, he's got Hanuman sitting in his flag, he's got Adishesha in his wheels. What more do you want from this, from this person? He is the best resource that any corporate could have right now in their team. And yet Arjuna has a fundamental conditioning problem. And the Western world has now taken this whole issue of conditioning very well. But let me tell you that this is something that we have been researching over the years. What is Arjuna's conditioning problem? Arjuna's conditioning problem is a very simple one. All his life, he has deferred to his elders. All his life. On a lighter note, who would ever agree, to share his wife with his brothers just because his mother told him to do so? But that is Arjuna's mental makeup. His mental makeup is that he will always defer to his elders. And Krishna somehow, being Narayana, knows this conditioning challenge that Arjuna has. Now look at Arjuna. In the war to retrieve the cattle of Uttara, Arjuna vanquished Bhishma, he vanquished Drona, and he vanquished Karna. But at that time, it was to win that battle and nothing else. But in this war, he has to kill them. And that is the difference that Krishna wonders whether Arjuna will actually do it or not do it. And therefore begins the entire Bhagavad Gita. The Gita, therefore, is for each one of us. In this journey of life, despite the best of our preparations, somewhere we come and get stuck at a particular point of time. And at that time, we wonder, what should be the way ahead? Should we continue doing what we want to do? Or should we give up and throw in the towel? Now, this is so relevant to all of us here, and I'm delighted to see so many 41ers, so many past tablers, so many past ladies circlers, so many tangent members here. We've all been through this particular situation in life. In each of us, there is an Arjuna. And every day, we face these challenges. कि क्या हम आगे बढ़े या बोले नहीं यार ये नहीं होने वाला है, इसको छोड़ दो, ये नहीं होगा हमारे साथ. ये हमारी एक बहुत ही बड़ी समस्या होती है that we need to figure out, and इसका एक हल निकालना ही पड़ेगा. Because if we don't, we will not be able to practice our Swadharma. So what is the meaning of this whole concept of Swadharma that we will explore in the next 18 days? Swadharma simply means one thing to me. Your dharma is to make you a happy person. And your Swadharma is to ensure that while you are being happy, you don't make anybody else in the world unhappy. So you take care of yourself, your family, your firm, your company, your employees, your vendors, your suppliers, and make sure that every one of these people is happy along the way. And that is your Swadharma. So the key to happiness is to figure out how we can apply these lessons of the Bhagavad Gita. One more thing that we would like to do from tomorrow onwards is that, just to make this a very interactive lecture and not just a download from me to all of you, we will also every day invite a couple of you to talk to us about your key to happiness at the beginning of the session itself. So we'd like you to share your thoughts with us, and we will do some kind of we will alert you in advance so that you can come and you can share your your thoughts with all of us, and because there is so much that we need to learn from each one of us. I sincerely believe that the finest place to learn today is from the past members of Roundtable, from the current members of Roundtable, or Ladies Circle or Tangent India. I think there's so much that we can learn. But we will give you that alert from tomorrow onwards, and we'll get a couple of you to start sharing. So having said this, let me now straight away dive into the Bhagavad Gita. And as I said, I'm going to be doing a couple of shlokas to illustrate the whole point. So the Bhagavad Gita starts with Dhritarashtra. And Dipti, can I request you to share your screen, please? It is there with you, darling. Okay. You have it with you. Anurag, can you please allow Dipti to share the screen? Dipti, just put share screen, that's it.
Yeah, Ram, try now. Yeah.
Okay, Dipti, try. Okay, Can you just take me to first chapter?
इसी ने कुछ जादू किया.
Right. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, this is where it all begins. This is the action. This is where it begins. And what I would like to do is that I would like to invite you to read the first shloka in Sanskrit with me. And this is Swami Brahmananda ji, who's based in Bangalore, from Swami Chinmayananda. His rendering of the Gita is absolutely fabulous. So we are trying something, and I'd like you to read the shloka with me. Are you all ready? If you are, then here goes. Dhritarashtra uvacha dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yuyutsaha pandavaschaiva kim krutvata sanjaya. So here's the challenge that Dhritarashtra has. Now, he's a blind king. He knows that it is his blind ambition that has brought on this particular war. He knows this. Now, Dhritarashtra has to figure out a way of trying to find out what is happening in the war. Now, heart of hearts, he knows that this is not the right place. Therefore, he is asking Sanjaya this question. At the Dharma Kshetra, Kurukshetra, Sanjay, what is happening? How are my sons who are there in the war, how are they faring in the war? What is happening in the war? And when you see this whole interplay, now this is the interesting part. So I just want to draw your attention to one interesting fact. There are 4 people who were privy to the Gita. One was Arjuna, who was listening to it as Krishna expounded the Gita. The second was Sanjaya, the minister, the wise minister of the Kauravas, who was blessed by Vedavyasa with the divine vision to see and hear what was happening in the Mahabharata, in the Kurukshetra war, and replayed to Dhritarashtra. The third was Dhritarashtra himself, and the fourth was Vedavyasa, who heard it and reproduced it faithfully. So let's look at the problem with Dhritarashtra. The ambition for his son and the love for his son completely clouded his ability to think. And he is the single most important reason for this war to have happened. And therefore, after the war, when he completely loses all his sons, and Krishna says, you could have stopped this. Why didn't you? Now, here is our first conditioning challenge that we've got. We know that we are not doing the right thing. We know that sometimes this is not what is right. And yet we persist with doing what we want to do. And this is the dilemma that Dhritarashtra had. Anurag, will you read the Hindi translation for me?
धृतराष्ट्र ने पूछा, धर्म की भूमि कुरुक्षेत्र में लड़ने की इच्छा से इकट्ठे हुए मेरे और पांडु पुत्रों ने क्या किया संजय?
Okay, so you can see his whole thing saying that, look, gathered there to fight. What are the kids doing? What are my children doing? What are my children who are the Kauravas, and what are the Pandavas doing? And and this is really where the entire the challenge of the Bhagavad Gita starts. Aditi, can you go to the next slide? We will explore some very interesting conditioning challenges that we are going to see. Okay. Now look at this particular verse in which Duryodhana. Okay. Now this is the problem with Duryodhana. Look at his conditioning, Duryodhana's conditioning. So first we'll read the shloka. Please read it with me, and then we'll do an anuvada of that. Saubhadra Draupadisya Sarva Eva Maharata. Anurag, will you read the Hindi anuvad for me, please?
पराक्रमी युधामन्यु, महाबली उत्तम मौजा, सुभद्रा और द्रौपदी के सभी बेटे सब के सब महारथी हैं.
So look at what is happening with Duryodhana right now. Okay, he's entered the entire war. He comes and he addresses Drona and not Bhishma, and he's talking to Drona. And before this, he makes a very interesting thing, saying, "Oh Drona, your disciples are on the other side. If only you wouldn't have taught them, this war wouldn't have happened." And now he look at the mindset of Duryodhana when he's talking to Dronacharya, and he's saying that, look, on the other side are some Maharathis, and heart of heart he is aware of the fact that somewhere he is not really got the best of people on his side. And this is the basic issue that he's got. Okay, this is a classic example again of conditioning, where we know that we are doing something wrong, and we are completely overawed by the entire opposition. And the very use of the word Maharathi is very, very interesting. Okay, I'd like to take you to the next stanza, and you will see something more interesting happening there. Vipti, will you go to 9? Okay.
Yes.
Now please read this with me, if you can. Here is the interesting point. Okay, Bobby, will you tell me the Hindi अनुवाद, please?
और अन्य अनेक शूरवीर मेरे लिए लड़ाई में जान न्यौछावर करने को तैयार हैं. ये सब के सब अलग अलग हथियारों से लड़ने में माहिर हैं.
See the difference. On Duryodhana acknowledges to Drona that on the side of the Pandavas are people who are fighting for dharma. They're all Maharathis, and each of them is so good. Each of them is so he's so accomplished. But look at my side. Here are people who have come and who are fighting because of my life. They will lay down their lives for my sake. So Duryodhana very clearly acknowledges that on the one side are the heroic warriors of the Pandavas, who are only 7 Akshohinis, much smaller in size than Duryodhana's 11. But they are fighting for dharma. Here are people who are going to fight because they want to lay their lives down for me, for my sake. And this is the conditioning challenge that anybody who has only bravado, and he's got only bravado on his side. So here is a guy who is overestimating his strength. And in his heart, he thinks that maybe I can't win. But he is making it up with bravado, and he's saying that, look, here are people who are coming to fight for me, and they want to lay down their lives only for my sake. This is again a conditioning problem that we have, that when we are out there and when we are fighting this particular fight, okay, at that point of time, are we going to allow ourselves to get swayed by the opposition, or are we going to be focusing on what we have? Are we going to have the wrong notion of what are our strengths and what we're going to be getting? This is the classic conditioning problem that we have. Now let's move and get to Sanjaya's problem. Okay, Sanjaya also has a conditioning challenge, and Sanjaya's challenge is again different. So we'll see 3 conditioning challenges very quickly, and then we'll discuss that for a little while. This is Sanjaya's challenge, which is verse 19. And now Sanjaya has been trained only to tell the truth and nothing but the truth. That is his conditioning challenge that Sanjaya has got. And see what he is telling Dhritarashtra. So what happens is that at this point of time, the entire war comes alive, because when Bhishma realizes that Duryodhana is getting a little weak and he is getting a little concerned, he blows his conch. And when he does it, on the opposite side, all the Pandava army start blowing their conches, whether it is Krishna or Arjuna or Yudhishthira or Bhima. this is what Sanjaya is reporting now to Dhritarashtra. Now remember, Dhritarashtra is a guy who wants to hear the good news. But Sanjay's conditioning is that he is incapable of telling him anything. He is not capable of couching it. Okay, so let's hear this particular stanza. It's a very, very interesting stanza that we've got for you. And yes, please, if you can repeat that with me. Avasyatim chaiva Yeah, Anurag.
इस सामूहिक घोष ने धृतराष्ट्रियों के हृदयों को झंझोड़ते हुए पृथ्वी से आकाश तक को गुंजा दिया.
So look at what Sanjaya is telling. Okay, he is saying that, look, O king, all those who were assembled blew their conches, starting with Bhishma. But when in response, the Pandava generals blew their conch in response, the text says that they pierced the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra. उनके मन में एक डर आ गया. And this is what Sanjay is saying. He is looking at the war and he's saying, उनके मन में तो बिल्कुल डर बैठ गया कि by God, ये कौन सा हम लोग क्या कर रहे हैं? Okay? And this is the time that the Pandavas show their strength. They are smaller in number. And Sanjay's conditioning is that he is repeating. Now, Dhritarashtra does not want to hear bad news. But Sanjaya is incapable of delivering good news or couching bad news as good news. He will tell it as he sees. And he says कि उनके मन में डर पैदा हो गया. क्योंकि जब ये लोग ने उनका कौच बजाया, तो पूरी की पूरी वातावरण वहां पे turned into one of fear for Duryodhana and his sons. Okay. Now, so this is the interesting interplay between Duryodhana and Sanjaya. Now, there is a third person in this whole thing that is very, very important. This is Arjuna. Now, what happens to Arjuna is this, that he at this point of time turns around and tells Krishna, "Kam kijiye Krishna, will you take my rath and place it between the armies? I want to see who are those who are fighting on the side of adharma." तब तक अर्जुना एकदम गुस्से में है कि जो लोग अधर्म के लिए लड़ रहे हैं वो मेरे सामने हैं, मुझे दिखाइए ये है कौन. I want to see who these guys are. And he very clearly tells Krishna that देखो कृष्णा मुझे वहां ले जाइए, मुझे देखना है कि कौन मेरे अगेंस्ट है, who is fighting against अधर्म, who is fighting for अधर्म, who is fighting against धर्म, मुझे देखना है ये लोग है कौन. अब कृष्णा को ये पता है कृष्णा को कि अर्जुना की जो कंडीशनिंग है इसमें he understands very clearly that Arjuna is now going to face a real challenge when it comes to this. And when he takes that particular chariot in the middle, Krishna turns and says, "Oh Arjuna, take a look at your uncle, take a look at your grandfather, take a look at the best of people who are fighting against you." And he wants to provoke Arjuna at that time, that bring your conditioning out and bring it out. So what happens from here onwards is that once he does that, once he says, place that chariot between the two, all his conditioning challenges of Arjuna start surfacing. And then comes a very, very interesting point. Dipti, will you share that with me, please? Verse 25. Yeah? Okay, so let's try and read this together. It's a very interesting verse. Okay, and it has a very deep meaning because this has an impact on the entire Mahabharata that you will actually see. Okay.
भीम, द्रोण और सब राजाओं के सामने रथ खड़ा करके कृष्ण ने अर्जुन से कहा, अर्जुन, इन इकट्ठे हुए कौरवों को देख.
So the whole point is this. So he is now provoking Arjuna. He says, यार तुम देखो वहां पे कौन है? वहां पे भीष्म है. ये आपके पितामह हैं, देखिए द्रोण है वहां पे, आपके गुरु, आपके भगवान. And he brings them and he says that look at the people who are here. You know, he very interestingly places that chariot at a point and he says, देखिए, see who all are in front of you, Arjuna. इनके साथ आपका झगड़ा होने वाला है, क्या आप तैयार हो? That is the message. So the point on this is this: whenever in our pursuit of our swadharma, हमारी जो कंडीशनिंग है ये आके उभर के आगे आती है, और कोई ना कोई हमें कृष्ण मिल जाता है हमारे जिंदगी में, who will actually tell you that यार देखिए आपकी लड़ाई आगे क्या है, आपकी मेहनत कैसी होने वाली है, आप तैयार हो क्या इसके लिए? And that is the time when all your conditioning challenges come into the way, and then you want to figure out saying यार ये होगा कि नहीं होगा. So the point is that at this point of time, what does actually Arjuna see? When he tells Krishna, show me who are there, he wants to see the people who are fighting against dharma. But what does Arjuna actually go and see? And there's a beautiful passage in the Gita in which Arjuna says, even Arjuna tells Krishna, what does he see? He sees grandfathers, he sees brothers, he sees sons, he sees grandsons. And he doesn't see warriors. So when we are actually going through this whole battle of our own life, when we want to achieve something, we forget the purpose that we are there and we start seeing all kinds of secondary things. We don't see the people for what they are standing in front of us, but we start looking at every other thing in life. And when he sees these fathers, when he sees these grandsons, when he sees these on both sides, and naturally Arjuna gets very weak, because it is all the other considerations in life that come to the fore at that point of time, and not really what you should be looking at. So let's cut to today. What is happening to us? When we want to do something decisive, we suddenly become emotional. We suddenly start seeing all kinds of other things in life. Okay? The other day I was asked a simple question. During this particular time that we are going through, this rough pandemic that we are going through right now,
this body is not made to be maintained.
Can I mute everybody? Okay. During this particular pandemic that we are going through right now, the problem is very simple. We have to take tough decisions. Are we ready to do that? Some of us will have to let go some people. Some of us will have to let go some, offices. Some of us will have to let go some customers. Some of us will have to let go some vendors. This is part of our life. But are we ready to do that? Are we looking at what is the higher purpose that we've got, or are we getting confused? And look at what Arjuna tells Krishna. If you can go to the next slide, Dipti, if you help me, please. That is slide 39. You got that? So this is a very interesting thing, Now Arjuna starts all his excuses to Krishna and he says, Krishna, ye jhagda kyun karo yaar? Ye kya karwa rahe ho mere se jhagda? Why would I want to take this fight? Okay? And all his righteous indignation that was built up, it starts collapsing from then onwards. And Arjuna starts giving a whole host of excuses as to why I don't want to fight. And in Hindi, there is a beautiful statement called Rai ka Pahad. Okay? एक राय का पहाड़ बना लेता है अर्जुन वहां पे, एक के ऊपर एक के ऊपर एक के ऊपर एक के ऊपर एक्सक्यूज, क्योंकि मुझे ये नहीं करना है. I don't want to do what I want to do. And he comes up with the most creative of excuses to Krishna, telling him, oh Krishna, ये नहीं होगा मेरे साथ. I don't want to take this fight. Why would I want to fight? And he comes up with the most interesting arguments against this. So let's hear Swami Brahmananda ji on this particular shloka, and please do repeat it with him. Okay, and look, Anurag, please.
कृष्ण, कुल नाश से होने वाले दोष को अच्छे से समझने वाले हम लोग इस पाप से हटने का विचार क्यों ना करें?
So he's piling up excuses after excuses. He says, look, why would I want to kill my own people? Isn't there a bigger crime than this? Why should I not turn away from this sin, O Janardana? And he is now looking at Krishna and saying, give me some reassurance that I am on the right track. That मैं जो कर रहा हूं वो सही कर रहा हूं कृष्णा, क्योंकि देखिए आप हो, you are the person who is the upholder of dharma everywhere. तो आप मुझे समझाइए कि ये क्या ये पाप नहीं है? Isn't this something so wrong? I should not kill my people. How can I kill my people? So when your conditioning comes to the fore, you forget your entire swadharma. And that is the time that you want to slip. You're desperately trying to slip into your comfort zones. And you're desperately trying to create excuses why things are not going to work. Okay? Again, if you look at it from today's context, for not doing something that we are supposed to do, we have 1,000 valid excuses. उसने फोन नहीं उठाया, उसने फोन रिस्पॉन्ड नहीं किया, उसने मैसेज नहीं देखा, उसने ईमेल को आंसर नहीं दिया, उसका बाप मर गया. There are 1,000 valid excuses for not something to happen. And Arjuna is doing exactly this. He is piling on excuse after excuse after excuse to Krishna, saying, Krishna, support me. And this is the whole problem. That look, why would we not want to do this? Why would we not want to fight this war, O Krishna? Don't you understand? You are Janardana, you understand this, right? How can you not understand my problem? And this is where his conditioning has completely kicked in. And let's see what he does next. Yeah? If you see this particular slide, the very interesting slide that he says, okay? And now his excuse is gone and has become complete, okay? Whatever he is trying to tell us, now his excuse is complete. So I'd like you to also try, help me and read this with me, and we'll get this going. Okay, look at his excuse. Yes, Anurag.
बहुत आश्चर्यजनक खेद की बात है कि हमने इस महापाप को करने की ठान ली है. राजपाट और सुखों के लालच में अपने ही कुनबे को मारने के लिए जोश में आ गए हैं.
Look at this. Now he has convinced himself कि मैं जो कर रहा हूं वो ठीक कर रहा हूं. मुझे ये नहीं करना चाहिए. क्योंकि क्या कर रहा हूं यार? What am I doing? ये मतलब ये राज्य के लिए, ये उस राज्य से जो सुख मिलता है, for that greed that I have for this, I'm not going to fight. This is terrible. How can I do this? So whenever you find yourself giving excuses for not doing something that you should do, which is your swadharma, keep this in mind, that you can convince yourself any amount that I should not do this. And you will bring all the logic to bear for not working on what you're supposed to be working on. And this is the challenge that Arjuna has. He has now completely convinced himself, and he keeps giving excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse as to why he is not going to be doing something that he is supposed to be doing. Remember, Arjuna's swadharma is very simple. He is the finest warrior in the Pandava and the Kaurava army. There is nobody who's as accomplished as he is. Remember, he has got all the stuff ready for the fight. and it is his dharma. His dharma is to go and restore dharma on this earth at that point of time. And instead of doing that, Arjuna's conditioning, his mental balance at that time, gets into a complete tailspin, and he starts only thinking and piling up excuses as to why I should not fight. And this is the challenge that all of us have today. We have a huge problem that is staring us. This rebooting that has happened, this collective pause button that has been hit in our life, is a very, very interesting challenge that we have. Now, we have two options. Option number one is to sit back and think कि कुछ नहीं होने वाला है, सब कुछ बर्बाद हो गया है, ये जिंदगी अभी वो जिंदगी नहीं रही, and keep thinking of that. Or we have a choice. And the choice is that we can say, no, let's try and see what can we do to come out of where we are at this point of time. What can we do to get out of this conditioning challenge that we are in today? That is the problem that we've got. So there are enough and more of people who will keep telling you that this is not the time. आपके साथ ये नहीं हो सकता है, आप नहीं कर पाओगे. और सबसे बड़ा दुश्मन आपके मन में बैठा रहता है, क्योंकि ये आपका कंडीशनिंग इश्यू है. If we can understand that what happens with this conditioning is this, that this conditioning that we have, and conditioning happens from childhood, it is this conditioning that goes to influence our thought process. हमारी जो सोच है, ये सोच वहीं से निकलती है जहां से हमारी कंडीशनिंग है. और that thinking, that सोच of yours will influence the way you actually act. और अगर आपकी सोच डरा हुआ है, अगर आपका सोच बहका हुआ है, if you've got a wandering thought process, and if you're not able to go out and put that down and say, this is what I'm going to do, then obviously the action that you will take is also going to be fearful. However, if your conditioning is positive, if your thought process is positive, and if you were to go out and say, no, I'm going to go and do something with my life, I am going to take some decisive action, then the behavior that you will also do will be the same. Your behavior will be that much more confident. So remember this, my friends, a very valuable lesson in this lesson in chapter 1 for all of us. Can we do anything about our conditioning? We cannot. We can't do anything about our conditioning, because what has happened to us in childhood, in our family, in the schools that we went to, in the colleges that we went and worked under, is something that is not under our control right now. So don't worry about trying to correct all of that. You can't do anything about it. But what you can do right now is this, that you can change your thought process. You can do what we call a thought override. And once you do that thought override, then you can start getting into an action mode of taking positive, constructive, enabling action, which will get you closer to your Swadharma. And this is the lesson that we need to understand in the entire chapter 1. Dipti, will you take me to the last verse of this particular section, please? Okay. This is possibly the last verse in the chapter, but it's a very, very interesting verse that my friend Sanjay actually says. Okay. And please, if you can repeat it, because this is the last verse, and this is what Sanjay is now telling Dhritarashtra about Arjuna and what Arjuna is saying.
Sanjaya uvacha eva muktva Arjuna rathopastha upavishat visrajya sacharam chapam shokatam vighnamanasah.
Right?
संजय बोला, यह सब कहकर शोक से भरे मन वाला अर्जुन तीरों सहित धनुष को छोड़कर रणभूमि में रथ के बीचों बीच बैठ गया है.
This is the final thing, that ये लड़ाई मैं नहीं लड़ूंगा. he is now convinced that I am not going to fight. And this is what our conditioning does. It does not allow you to act. It makes sure that आप वहीं के वहीं रहोगे. ये जो डर आपके मन में है या आपके वहम आपके मन में है या whatever is there in your mind, these thoughts are not going to enable you into doing something positive. So, ladies and gentlemen, here is the thought for all of us for today. Recognize your conditioning. Every one of us has it. Okay? I'll confess to you something as I told you. I was a bad student. I never could study properly. I don't know, I hated studies. I failed in 7th, I failed in 11th. I had to repeat my first year BA. I was a very bad student till I got to my MA. And I convinced myself that I'm a useless student. मेरी पढ़ाई राम शिशु पागल है क्या होगा नहीं. But thanks to Dipti, thanks to my professor, thanks to my father, who convinced me that I am wasting my time. And here is a thing that I can do to change. In my second year MA, in Bombay University, in economics, in econometrics, I managed to score 68%, which is the highest, and it's a record that stood for 15 years. So you can change whatever you want to change in life. You need not allow your conditioning to ruin your life. And this is something that I'd like you to think about today. That what is your swadharma? What is it that is going to give you true happiness in life? And how can you start working towards that? What is coming in your way of your swadharma? Please recognize that. That is your conditioning. Is it something that you're worried about? Is it something that you're fearful about? Is it something that you're restricting yourself? Figure these conditioning issues out, your challenges out for yourself today. And tomorrow when we are going to get into the session, we're going to start seeing chapter 2, in which Krishna actually starts peeling off each of these layers of Arjuna. But mind you, Arjuna is a tough nut to crack. It takes him 18 chapters. 18 chapters. And it takes him something like 653 verses to convince Arjuna that, my friend, get up and fight. So the last, this is called the Moola shloka in every chapter of Bhagavad Gita. This is the end of the chapter 1, in which he puts his bow down and he says, "Ye jhagda maine nahi chadna. Aapko jo karna hai kar lo, Krishna. I am not going to fight this fight. Ab aapki marzi, aapko jo karna hai, aap kar lijiye. This is something which I am not going to do." So he puts it down and he says, this is it. So we'll end today's session here saying, this is the challenge of conditioning. That it comes in the way between you and your swadharma, which is to find happiness in life, to do what you want to do. As I discussed with Anurag and a little bit with Srini and Dipti, the whole point of this exercise is this: can we start doing something in a more positive way today? So I'd like to end today with this and request any questions, any observations, any answers. We can do that. Yes, please. You can, Dipti, you can stop the share and we can get into a gallery view so we can see everybody. So any questions, any observations? I'd love to handle it from here.
Ram, good morning. Can I ask?
Please go ahead, Shrini.
Ram, I think two things, if I may ask. One is understanding conditioning itself. Lot of times, and many people find it difficult to understand that perhaps they are conditioned in a way not to, not to face the situation or not to take action. Second is, where do you see your Krishna? Is your Krishna inside yourself at times?
Wonderful. So the second question, Srini, is yes, Krishna is absolutely within you. One of the interpretations of the Mahabharata is that there is no Kurukshetra out there. The Kurukshetra is between our mind, is in our mind. Okay? And this whole Krishna is within you. There is an Arjuna within you. And therefore you are fighting this battle within yourself. So definitely there is that. Okay? But yes, you take comfort in, there is a Krishna, there is an external Krishna, and you take comfort in that. There's nothing wrong. Now, how do you recognize your conditioning? Very simple. Your swadharma is to be happy. If in the pursuit of this particular happiness, while you and your swadharma is to ensure that you are happy and make the whole world happy. If in the process of your being happy, if you are not able to make the whole world happy, then there is a conditioning block. Okay, so check what is that conditioning block and work it out for yourself. Can you do anything about it? No. But can you do a thought override? Yes. Okay. So it is difficult for people to find out what can be their way. But believe me when I say this, just spend a little time in contemplation. Okay. And you will find out. So I'll give you 2 or 3 very interesting pointers on this. If you take a look at your typical day, there are so many transactions that you enter into on a typical day. Just take a look. How many of these transactions have deviated you from what you're supposed to be doing? That is a conditioning problem. Okay, 1. 2, in a day, in those transactions that you do, how many times did you lose your temper? How many times did you get angry? That is a conditioning challenge. Okay, point number 3. Okay, so 1, how did you get distracted? 2, how did you get into 3? Third, when you're working on your swadharma, okay, are you taking on too many things at the same time? That is again a conditioning challenge. So just look at these 3 itself. How are you getting distracted from what you want to do? How are you getting angry? And how are you handling too many stuff in life? Okay, man was not made for multitasking, Srini. Multitasking is a completely alien concept. We're not supposed to multitask. We're supposed to be focused. So if you're doing all of this, you'll get your conditioning challenges.
Thank you, Ram.
Any other observations, questions, anything else?
Sheshu, this is Ashutosh from Ahmedabad.
Yeah, Ashutosh, how are you, sir? Namaskara.
I'm fine. Nice to see you again. Can you please come again on the difference between dharma and adharma?
So, dharma is to do what is right. Okay? Adharma is primarily to do what is not right. Swadharma, according to me, is to do what is right to make you happy, while you can make the whole world happy. Okay? So, if you look at what the Kauravas did, and that's why Krishna keeps saying that they are on the side of adharma. They refused to do what was the right thing for them to do. They put some conditions. Yudhishthira was foolish. He shouldn't have participated in that game. He participated. Okay, fine. But then after he did it, they put some conditions. He fulfilled those conditions. They refused to part with the kingdom. And that is adharma. When you're doing things which are not right for you, ultimately, Ashutosh, this whole concept is internal. Okay? If you do things which are not right for the rest of the world, it will bounce back on you. That is adharma. It's as simple as that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Very well said.
Ram, can I ask you a question on this?
Please, Rajiv.
Ram, you said that what is right is dharma and what is not right is adharma. Who decides what is right and what is not right?
You decide.
And how does one make the differentiation?
So it's very simple, no, Rajiv. Is something going to make you unhappy? Is it going to make you happy? Simple. See, a little later when we are going to be discussing this, there will be one particular verse that will come out. Now, when you are going to be doing something that is going to make you happy, Rajiv, remember there are 2 kinds of things. One is instant gratification. So you may get into an instant gratification mode and say, okay, right now, this is what is making me happy. But is this something that even in the long term is going to make you happy or unhappy? That's the question that you need to ask yourself. Okay. Ultimately, what is this whole concept of dharma, Rajiv? It is if you can see yourself in the mirror every day and smile in the morning. If you can actually digest the food that you eat. If you can put your head on the pillow and go to sleep in the night. if you can spend time with a couple of friends and have a good laugh, all this is happiness, no, Rajiv? Now, if you're doing something by which none of these things can happen in the long term, then there is a problem that you've got. And you need to evaluate and find out, is this something that we need to do or is this something that we don't need to do? Okay? Ultimately, man has been born because he wants to be happy. That is our fundamental, our birthright is to be happy, Rajiv. And happy in a sustainable, scalable, long-term way. Okay? Not one instant happiness that will get you long-term unhappiness.
Sometimes, Ram, it also happens that in the endeavor to keep doing a swadharma, like you said, that, that keep people around you happy, something that you do, your actions should help to keep people around you happy. Sometimes you manage to do that, but in the pursuit of doing that, you yourself don't seem to be very happy.
That's wrong, no, Rajiv. So the first thing is that whatever you are doing, is that giving you happiness? And in the process, so it's always you, no, Rajiv, it's always internal. So if you're doing things to make the world happy, but you're unhappy, then that is not your swadharma. No?
Then it would not be wrong to be selfish.
So long as you are being selfish is not hurting somebody else. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
So sometimes, Rajiv, we need to take a tough call and tell people, I'm sorry, but I don't want to meet you today. Okay. But it's a call that you need to take. Right? But going there and meeting them, Rajiv, and then feeling completely miserable the whole evening that you're going and meet, what's the whole point? Okay? So you're going to be selfish to make yourself happy and in the process make everybody happy. Great, nothing wrong with that.
Ram, can I?
Ram, okay, sorry, Reshma, go ahead.
Ram, what if you're put in a situation in which you are not a party to anything, but you are put into a situation in which the opposite person does adharm to you, but you are not in a capacity or a position to do dharma for it. So what is adharm and dharma? Because we feel it is adharm, I feel it is adharm, what the opposite person is doing, but the opposite person doesn't even realize that he's doing adharm. Then how do you get out of a situation like that? Because you cannot get out also. The way I am entangled in the situation, it's not easy for me to get out from that.
So Reshma, sometimes in life, you're going to be put into situations which make you deeply unhappy. And that is the time when you must seek help. You must find a way out of that. Your continued unhappiness is only going to keep hurting you in life, nobody else. So supposing, for instance, I am hurting you, Reshma, in this example that you've given, and I'm not even conscious of the fact that I'm hurting you. Okay? But the point is that, Reshma, you need to seek help. You need to put your hand out. You need to say, look, I need help. I need somebody to tell this guy that you're making me unhappy. And that's very, very important to do so. Because see, ultimately, Reshma, this whole world is about you being happy. Why are we in such a huge mess right now as individuals? Because we're not happy. So we need to figure a way out of getting there. So if there is some help that is required, then so be it. If there is a full stop to be put somewhere, then so be it. Okay? But you cannot go through life being deeply unhappy, Reshma. Okay? It is your swadharma to be happy. And in the process, if there are some tough calls that need to be taken, so be it. Nothing wrong with that, Reshma. Okay, sometimes, unfortunately, we have to take these calls. We can't help it. Okay? And sometimes we need help from somebody else to take those calls. Do it. Nothing wrong.
Thank you, Ram.
Ram, we were talking about conditioning.
Yes.
The conditioning happens, say, between the ages of 2 to 12, as you were saying the other day, 80,000 no's and so on and so forth. How do you realize, or why, when this conditioning happens, is there a purpose for this conditioning to happen, or is just something that happens in life?
You know, Rahul, conditioning is very interesting. Okay. Like all things, you can have completely positive conditioning, you can have negative conditioning, you can have something which is in between, neutral. Let me give you an example. Supposing there is a father who's got, let's say, 2 children, a boy and a girl, okay? And you go to their house. It's not that the father is a wicked guy. It's not that the father is a bad guy. It's not that the father means ill to somebody. Okay? He doesn't. But let's say you go to their house and he says, you know, my daughter is very good, yeah. She is fantastic. I mean, you know, she is a beaut. She's very, very good. No problem at all with my daughter. Now, what is that? That's a very positive stroke. Okay? Now, supposing he is silent about the son. That's a very different kind of conditioning. Now, some parents, for some reason, I think they revel in this. They, you know, we've got this absolutely warped concept saying, you know, nazar nahi lagna chahiye bachchon ke upar. And somebody says, yaar, ye aapka ladka bahut acha gata hai. He says, अरे यार, वो तो नालायक आदमी, मैं बोल रहा हूँ, वो बिल्कुल बेवकूफ आदमी, वो मतलब मेरे को, you know, ये बड़ा होके बड़ा, he'll get me a bad name. He is useless. अरे hello, this is negative stroke. Okay, so you've got a positive stroke. You don't talk about your son. That's a neutral stroke. Now in a class, okay, there are 2 kids who are sitting on a bench, and the teacher is just asking Rahul the question and completely ignoring Ram. So somewhere Ram is getting the impression that, yeah, I am not capable of answering this question. Okay, that's a neutral negative conditioning stroke. So Rahul, all of these keep happening and keep building up. Yeah, I'll tell you why you're talking between 2 and 12. You start working. Most of us who started working in life have had absolutely truants as bosses. You know, terrible fellows. And we think that, you know, one of the management styles, Rahul, is to keep shouting in the middle of the corridor on everybody that comes in front of you. And that's how your conditioning develops. Now, some of these people do it unwittingly, Rahul. But then this is something that happens all the time. Okay? Like it happened in the case of Arjuna, like it happened in the case of Duryodhana. Duryodhana was all the time told, it is a historical mistake that because Yudhishthira was born before you, that he is the Yuvraj. It is a historical mistake. So look at Duryodhana's conditioning. And he's been told, look, your father is the king. But because Yudhishthira was born one day before, or a couple of days before, he is the Yuvraj. Now that is so unfair, Duryodhana. And so his conditioning, so Duryodhana, I mean, you know, nobody becomes Duryodhana, nobody becomes Yudhishthira just like that. All of us are created with our own conditioning. And when at the right time, a Shakuni appears in his life, a Karna appears in his life, okay, that's when everything just changes. And Duryodhana crosses the Rubicon and he becomes this wicked person. So even Duryodhana has been given these conditioning strokes from the time he's small, and that's bravado. That's why his aggressiveness. That's why, you know, going and saying that, why did you train these shishyas of yours, Drona? Or telling him that, look at our army. I mean, you know, we're so powerful, we're so good, we're this, we're that. All false bravado. That is his conditioning. Yeah, RP, you wanted to say something, RP?
Yeah, it's not the question. This is what I've learned in this first chapter. When you say conditioning, our own mind, we call this saying, I think you also know it very well. Mind is an enemy, mind is a friend. Our own mind gives a right signal, our own mind gives a wrong signal. We are the one who have got to choose whether it is right or wrong. So I just wanted to share that this is what is the learning from this first chapter.
Yeah, Ram, please unmute yourself. I just muted everybody.
Okay, sorry. No, you're absolutely right, RP. That's a great observation that you made, you know, that look, that fine line, and, you know, we know what is right and wrong, RP. You know, nobody has to tell us that. You know what is right, you know what is wrong. You know, that is absolutely right. Any other questions? Right. So what we'll do is that tomorrow we are going to do chapter 2. And I'll try and see if I can send you some of the shlokas today on the chat box. I do hope you all enjoyed this share. Do reach out to us. Do send us any feedback in terms of how can we make it better. This was an experience that we thought we'd like to share with you, which Anurag, Dipti and I have, Swati, Anurag, Dipti and I have put together, which Srini, of course, helping us a lot. And if there is anything, I'd love to talk, otherwise we'll begin.
Ram,
Yeah, Pankaj?
I was thinking later during the discourse whether it is possible to get some light on how the various kings of the land, how did they reason to choose their alliances? Like, what if there is anything like that? I'm not sure. Each one, how did they decide in their own mind whom they should align with? You know, then it can give us, I was hoping to get some insight on how one should think.
That what we can do is that while that is strictly not in the Gita, it's more the Mahabharata. I would definitely love to chat with you on that. No problem at all on first chapter does refer to who are all there on my side and who are all there on their side. It does give that reference, you know, who are the kings, but it doesn't say why these kings are here and why those kings are there. That's your question. It just refers to saying that, you know, here are the kings on my side, here are the kings on their side. It just talks about that. But Duryodhana kind of lets it out, saying that these are people who are going to fight for me and they're going to die for me. That's why these guys are on my side. Okay? A lot of the kings who were there on Duryodhana's side were people, you know, who were anti-Krishna. Okay, a lot of that. But what we will do is that we can set up a chat on that, and there's a beautiful insight into that as to why did so-and-so choose to be here and why did somebody choose to be there. There's a lot of very, very interesting analysis on that. I'll share that with you.
Right. Thank you. It was very nice. It's a great way to start the day. I'm feeling very inspired.
Yeah. So tomorrow is, you know, the chapter 2. Chapter 2 is really, really the entire Gita encapsulated in one place. You know, the Gita has 3 very interesting parts. And, tomorrow we will see all those 3 interesting parts. It's a long chapter. It has multiple verses. It's one of the longest in the Gita. It's actually the second longest chapter in the Gita. It's about 72 different verses. So tomorrow is going to be a little more intense. We'll have to cover a fair amount because there's a lot that we need to bring to the fore, and we need to figure out how to but we will. Yeah. But tomorrow is every chapter actually keeps, you know, building on each other. Tomorrow is something which is popularly called Sankhya Yoga. Today was Vishada Yoga of Arjuna. Tomorrow is actually the Sankhya Yoga. And we're going to get into that. And all of you must have heard of the very, very famous statement that Krishna makes, Karmanya Vadikaraste Maphaleshu Kadachana. That's something which is going to be a very, very interesting verse, stanza that we're going to analyze and forget and, you know, try and figure out. Right? So with that, Anurag, I'd like to return to you and say that, you know, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. The blessings of the Lord be with all of us.
थैंक यू राम. मजा आ गया. धर्म, अधर्म और स्वधर्म, इन तीनों का डिफरेंस बड़े अच्छे से समझाया आपने और समझ में भी आ गया. कहते हैं मन के हारे हार है और मन के जीते जीत. अब आप जैसा सोचोगे वैसा आप आगे बढ़ोगे. And thank you everyone for coming here in the morning and participating on the first day, joining us on the first day. I thank you all. Thank you Babji, thank you RP, Thank you, Pankaj. Thank you, Rajiv. Thank you, Srini, so much. And कल मिलते हैं वापस हम लोग चैप्टर 2 के लिए. और अगर आपने व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप ज्वाइन नहीं किया हुआ है तो कर लीजिए, क्योंकि सारे इनसाइट्स राम वहीं पे शेयर करते हैं, तो शायद आप लोगों को नहीं मिलेंगी. इसमें से कुछ लोग ऐसे हैं जिन्होंने अभी तक ज्वाइन नहीं किया है. थैंक यू सो मच. Namaste. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.